Hello. Hi guys. Alright, so this is gonna be a Theater of Pain. I do not think I have uploaded Theater of Pain in the new season yet, so I felt like it would be a good video to upload. Second week, new Affix, Tormented, one more time. This is a full guild run. I'm with guildies. Well, obviously if it's a full guild run then it's not with guildies, right? Ares tanked on DK. We had Happy Warlock, Valrat, Mage, and Zarkan Warrior. The Warrior. Don't really remember how this key went. I know we timed it pretty comfy, I think. We'll see. Theater and Fortified can be sometimes tricky because those big mobs, they like the most inefficient way to pull in a dungeon usually is when you pull mobs one by one, right? And since there are just giant mobs in this dungeon, there's multiple single target fights that we simply have to go through, and in these cases I do believe that these guys have like 1,000,000 HP or like even more than 1,000,000 on 15, so you know, just something to consider. That makes this dungeon somewhat hard to time sometimes, simply because you do need a lot of single target DPS. But at least this dungeon has 5 boss fights, so therefore it is very efficient to do it on a Fortified week, because obviously you don't have to fight tyrannical 5 boss fights. Still, boss fights are quite a bit challenging sometimes, to some degree. At least this one is. You gotta interrupt nicely, which we didn't really do here. We actually did a really poor job of interrupting. So we were taking a lot of damage. So that's something to fix, but overall I think we did good. And here something interesting happens. Like, I just straight up died, and I gotta be honest, I'm still not sure what actually got me. It's probably one of the casts that went through, I'm assuming, because I don't really know that this boss has any other ability that can kill me like that. But that was like quite surprising, not gonna lie. That was really weird. I don't know what that was, but we just got doided it.
Beware. You approach a powerful servant of the jailer.
This guy is quite easy, there's not much to talk about. Sometimes he'll deal like a big damage on hierarchies, but it's nothing we can deal with as Holy Priests. We have a lot of single target heal and a lot of AoE heal as long as people stay somewhat stacked, so there's no reason to worry about this guy. Just use your Prayer of Mending on CD, use Circle of Healing, use your Sanctify when you need to. And then if you still need a lot of healing, you can either use him or Apotheosis. I would rather suggest Apotheosis first, simply because it has shorter cooldown and also it will allow you for more Sanctify casts and more like heals that will reduce your holy words more. Just for these packs, there's not much to talk about. Use your stun, obviously, contribute with damage as much as you can, and also like talk with your team. How much you can help with PIs. In this case, I think most of the times, if not always, I PI'd Warlock, although I do believe that both Fury Warrior actually and Frost Mage are also good targets for PI. They all like it. There's some classes in which PI really does not help that much, but in this case I think anybody here would be a good PI target. For example, if Warlock doesn't have CDs, then I think PIing Fury Warrior would be a good call, to be honest, because Fury Warrior is actually pretty good in dungeons, at least in my experience. They can slap quite a bit of damage. And with this guy there's like a very standard rule of, you know, just stack and then spread. If you get the debuff, just trust your teammates. As you can see here, we also have like a reduced healing on him, so since we're as Holy, we don't have any sort of DR on us. Like, for example, if I was Disc, then Barrier would be a perfect ability to use on this guy if needed. However, here as Holy, we don't have anything to help really with just pure damage reduction, so therefore I do believe that it's a very good call there to use a defensive such as Rallying Cry or NZ like Grievous used, or perhaps Darkness, or whatever your team brings. If you got anything that's not healing but damage reduction rather, or even people using personals is not a bad call, or maybe perhaps just popping some CDs and making sure you kill that mob quickly would be a good way to go. Because sometimes if you cannot sustain through something, then the next best bet is to either try to immune, avoid it, or just kill it before it kills you. Those are like the three options you have if you cannot like safely sustain through something. Those are like traditionally the best three options you have. It was a little bit of a dicey pull, but we managed through. As I said, like cast Guardian Spirit as much as you can on your tank, especially since he's a DK. He has so much self-heal, so you can also help him out a lot by simply just casting Guardian Spirit. And also, yeah, I get that talent personally. You can skip this talent; it's not necessary, but I get it. The talent that says if Guardian Spirit does not prevent a death on the target, it has cooldown reduced by 1 minute. So that's why you will sometimes see my Guardian Spirit be 3 minutes, sometimes 2 minutes. If it's 2 minutes, you basically have it every pull in most dungeons. which is really strong. If it doesn't get reduced, then you'll have it like every second pull, or obviously this is like just a rough estimation. It all depends on your DPS, it depends on like how the routing is and all of that, but you know, just in general that is true. And here I actually tried, I don't know if you saw, but I tried to pull Irius with Leap of Fate, but I couldn't get him. I think he was out of line of sight or something. To be honest, I didn't expect. I just heard him yell on Discord and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and pull him, but it was too late by then. He probably was like already falling down. But as you can see, like this boss really does not do much. Like he's not a heavy like tank hitter. He basically just deals this AoE and then casts his spells. Like you can easily do him. Either that or Zarkan is the tankiest Fury Warrior I have ever seen. Like one of those two. Right, now we go for the dreaded platform with 2 bone spikes and then Soulstorm. As a healer, you really want to keep your biggest CDs for the Soulstorm guy. That's where the shit goes down. I'm sorry for swearing. You need your CDs for the next platform if you're going this way. Like it's those guys on Fortified Way just deal so much damage. You cannot keep people alive there without CDs. And here it comes. I communicated with them to keep both Rallying Cry and Irius's AMZ for this if needed. And I decided to not use CDs yet, and I'm just kind of waiting a little bit, and I pop like you can see here, the Tooth save and the Dispel, and I popped, actually quite unwisely I had popped the Ascended Boon, which I didn't really put to good use at all. And here you see I lost stacks, so you see how scary that got. Like I couldn't cast heal because it's so slow. That's why you don't want to lose your stacks, and that's why Ascended Boon cast was very wrong choice there. My line of thought was I'm gonna try and help them burst them, but we still lived, right? So it wasn't like all that bad, but I feel like it was kind of a waste, to be honest. I could have used it on the previous platform to kill faster, and then here I should have just popped up the Elsis and heal like a maniac, or perhaps do him. But the reason why I don't want to do him is because I also want to dispel, which I can't do while I'm doing him. So yeah, that's basically the main reason why I chose to do that. Here, just dodge wins. I suggest staying in melee range. That's my suggestion. I get knocked by these on a regular basis, and it's really stupid and embarrassing and unnecessary, and it's a big waste of time because you have to wait for the person to come back, and it's just so slow. Wiping on this platform can be sometimes the difference between timing and mistiming keys if it's tight on time, and you don't want to be going through that. It's a big waste of time, and as I say that, I get knocked, so don't be that guy. And I think luckily here we managed to almost finish this and clear, so I think we communicated that they're gonna summon me. That's why I'm chilling here, I'm just sitting around. But yeah, don't get knocked, don't be me, and don't panic if you do, right? Just run back, or if you have Warlock, summon people, or if you're in the last platform, you can also, if they get past last portal, you can simply run, and then when you go through the first portal, you'll get ported on the last portal when you finish this. But obviously they can't finish it without me anymore, so I had to go back. This boss as a priest is really not much of a problem, because here's what you can do. You get 2 of these. Okay, mass the spell. And then next one we won't have mass dispel for, but we can dispel one target and then just sustain the other, and really no problem whatsoever with this boss. You should have as a priest, especially as a holy priest. As a disc it might get a little bit scarier because our healer output is not that high, but considering we have the spell, so I choose to dispel here myself. I'll explain why. Because we are squishy as priests. We as priests we're quite squishy, and the warlocks have decent defensives and more HP, so therefore I think it's more value to dispel yourself as a priest and then just keep the other target alive. If you... Okay, so that changes if you get that ability that gives you 50% more heals on yourself. I think in that case you wanna dispel the other guy and then heal yourself, simply because you can do more healing on yourself, so your heals have extra value, so you can just cast one heal and a hot, and then you can focus on healing. And also don't cast renew for hot, don't do that. You have Prayer of Mending, remember, and Prayer of Mending, every time it jumps it leaves renew on the target, so therefore you do not need to renew anybody. You can just focus on casting Prayer of Mending. It's also an instant cast, so it's very strong. And here, because I had 2 defensives, I decided to dispel the other guy. So that's my reasoning. Even though it's a mage, so I technically should have dispelled myself, and then he should have ice blocked or alter dimed, but I don't want to disrupt his like damage dealing. Like right now we only care about damage, not about survival. So I tell him deal damage, I got this. On a hierarchy, on tyrannical, you might wanna like do the other way around, but this, it didn't matter. This pull can be a bit tricky if people don't interrupt. This decaying field cast is very rough, and also like chop together with Devour Flash, I believe it's called. Those things can really make this pull insanely difficult. Just be careful. Watch out for any sort of what should we call them? Any sort of missed interrupts, misplays, and pulls. You need to dodge this mid shield right, like that. And then the trick is also you kind of want to be melee, but you also don't want to be melee because this guy can chop you. So it is what it is. You just gotta be careful. Here we got chopped again, but we have 2 defensives, so we really should be fine here. I should be popping Fade there just to kind of like make my job a little bit lighter, but it ended up not really mattering anyway.
Great evil lurks nearby. Expel it with haste.
Once again, this guy, as priests, we really do not worry too much about. As you can see, I pop Ascended Boon and I let them build up stacks and then I dispel them all. And with Mass Dispel, really easy boss. Mini boss. Nothing to worry about. Just keep dispelling, keep healing. We still have him. Okay, we didn't have him in this case, but we have Sanctify, we have Apotheosis, we have another Sanctify if we need it. And we have 2 Serenities. We're good. We have all the tools we need to deal with that guy, so no worries. This pull can also be sometimes a little bit tricky, so be careful here. Interrupts very important, and since there is an inspired ad, you might want to communicate with your group how you want to deal with this. It could be worth to just CC the inspired and deal with the pack, although it would be a little bit slower, but then you can pull the next pack into the next mob, which doesn't need to be interrupted, so you can save some time like that. It's all about communication. Talk with your friends and see what you want to do. This boss can be tricky because he's a tank smasher, and DKs do not really have the best active mitigation. Like their Icebind Fortitude is insanely strong ability. However, it is on a 3-minute CD, I believe. It's a high CD, like super high. They really don't want to be using it willy-nilly. So therefore, be careful. Keep your tank alive. You have Guardian. You have Tooth. Well, if you have Tooth. If you don't have Tooth, then you have Guardian. Just keep the tank alive, no worries, no problem. You also keep in mind that if your tank gets in trouble, you can pop a Serenity on him, then Apotheosis, then another Serenity, Sanctify as well, Renew, and then spam heal on him, then Guardian, and you can even him, and since it's a DK, your him will also make his self-healing stronger. You really should not be losing tank here unless tank makes a mistake. The only thing is you need to predict your movement so you can cast, because we cannot move and cast. That's our biggest weakness as Holy Priests. And so far so good, the dungeon is pretty clean. Now we're heading into the corridor where there's a lot of single target needed, so here just help out with DPS as much as you can. Just DPS, DPS, DPS. And also, since we're playing Sanguine Core, I do think that I should have come closer. This is something that I'm only realizing after rewatching these videos. Like, see these procs, all of them, I'm not sure how far they reach, and I think I would just get more value if I'm standing a little bit closer, because I think the visuals indicate how yeah, I think I figured it out here that, you know, I should be closer. It's just like a little bit more damage. Be careful, don't get interrupted here, because we really have only one skill tree. If you get interrupted on any of it, we're done, so we're not casting any spells. So don't do that. Try not, you know, unlike Shadow Priest, like Shadow Priest does not care that. Sorry, not Shadow Priest. Disc Priest. He has Shadow and Holy trees, and see how when we're see like I have no abilities when I'm Holy Locked. It's scary. Don't get Holy Locked. That's one of the advantages of Disc. When you get interrupted, that's also notable in PvP. If you ever get interrupted as Disc, most of the time it really doesn't matter, because it's like you have like two skill trees and they're both equally powerful. Here you gotta be careful. Be careful. Don't get interrupted. You got no spells then. And here I just want to say, like, note how I'm saving my, like, not really saving, but I'm planning to use Sanctify and Serenity and Divine Hymn and Stun and Holy Fire here, because I know how difficult this pull is. The only thing I wished I have was that Guardian Spirit. And I'm also trying to time PI with this pull. This pull is probably the hardest pull on Fortified. Just be careful. You want to stun a lot of things here. You want to CC as much as you can, because these guys will shred you. And look at how much damage I'm taking. So I decide to to Guardian Spirit myself, and then I heal. I pop him here. I would suggest that before you pop him, make sure you have more than 10 seconds running on those flash concentration stacks, because otherwise you're gonna have to rebuild them, and that's just a big waste of time. And here we go again. We kill that pretty cleanly. We pull Arius actually commanded this guy, command undead, which is something DK can do, which is really strong in this dungeon. Just overall, pretty well. Pretty nice thing to do. Very cozy. Helps out with damage here, and then later you can use it to get percentage. This boss is relatively easy. There's not much to heal here except for the tank, and obviously, like, if people get hit by things, they're most likely gonna die, so there's not much for us as healers to do. You can predict hits and then tooth them, I guess, but other than that, there really isn't much to do. And pay attention how I decided. I could have popped this at start, but I decided to keep it until Banner comes, when I know that both of my DPS players will get taken down. So I save it for Banner. It's just like a tiny little detail that could matter on the hierarchies. Don't forget to cast Chastise. It is a big DPS spell for us. So just use it, use Holy Fire. And there you go, I use both now. I listen to myself. And Prayer of Mending, maintain your flash concentration stacks. Here it is, flash heal. Back to 20 seconds. Good job. Keep it up. Another banner. Smite that bitch. Smite, 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 smite. Shadow Word. No need to cast Holy Fire. It should not live that long, so save your Holy Fire for boss. Just maximize damage as much as we can. We get back Serenity here. I use it on the mage. Cap gets hit. No problem. We got this. Bam. Bam. New boss. On Tyrannical, I would advise against nuking the boss, because banner actually takes quite a while to kill. Actually, just do whatever. You guys know what to do. It's like if you decide to nuke the boss and then the banner slows you enough and he does any sort of ability, it's easy to wipe. That's why I'm usually against it, unless he's like really really low, like sub 200k HP maybe. Here we release Captain. I was advocating here for pulling this into the boss, but I didn't want to risk it. Oh yeah, and then here they listened to me. Okay, I'm glad they did, because I really think just killing him alone was a waste of time, because the Captain really does not do much. It's just like a meat shield that boosts others, but when he doesn't have friends, then he's not that dangerous. Okay. I hope I PI'd somebody. Actually, I didn't see who I PI'd. I hope I PI'd Warlock here. Didn't really look like Warlock had CDs, but still. This is like pretty straightforward for us as Holy Priests. There's not much to do. I stunned one simply to interrupt. You ranged once to interrupt this, so they come and stack up together, and since we have Fury Warrior, you can just clean them up. One thing you can also do is you can use Fear to interrupt them all, but then they need to deal damage to them so they don't run away to other side of the arena, because that's bad. Like I had some plays where I feared them all and then they run to the other side completely, and it just gets even harder. So just communicate with your team if they want fear or not, because if you have fear, they need to deal damage quickly to them. They need to be in position to deal damage. Could also use slappy hands on the DK, you know, just that mass grip ability pretty strong on this boss. And overall, since it's new season, you can see how, like, look at our deaths. We only had 3 deaths, no wipes. And the route was pretty solid as well. And look at how little time we had, like only 1 minute 40 above the line. Very, very close still. But I think we did good. My damage could have been a little bit higher. 1.4 is not bad, not great either. Overall good dungeon, I would say. Anyway, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Really appreciate you guys, and you know, like, subscribe if you want to. Feel free to leave a comment or any suggestions that you would like to see. Don't hesitate to let me know, and thank you guys for being here. Much love, guys. Goodbye.